All right, we'll go ahead and get started. Good morning, everyone. You know the housekeeping rules by now. Please, if you don't mind, keep yourself on mute. Add your affiliation next to your name, Zoom ID. Ask Arnie if you need record permission, or if you need record permission, ask Arnie. And if you have a question, as always, hit the virtual raised hand function, and we'll get to your questions here in just a matter of moments. The 2024 NTT INDYCAR Series season continues this coming weekend at beautiful WeatherTech Raceway, Laguna Seca, and Sunday's Firestone Grand Prix of Monterey. Sunday will also mark the competition debut for one David Malukas in the number 66 AutoNation Arctic Wolf Honda for Meyer Shank Racing, although it's not David's first appearance in the car. That came at the Milwaukee Mile last week during the open test up there, in which he was fifth quick in the morning session, and I believe top 10 again in the afternoon, seventh, I believe, in the afternoon session. So not a bad way to slide into a brand new environment. And David joins us this morning. I know, David, you've been patiently waiting for your first race here in 2024. What is the anticipation like as you head into the week and head into Sunday?
Yeah, it's been man, time is just getting slower and slower. I just can't wait to get back in it. And it was the same way for the Milwaukee test. I've never been more careful in my life, going upstairs or doing anything before the test. I was like, all right, left foot, right foot, like really just focus so I can make it in one piece into the car. And it was good. And the test went fantastic. The speed was there, the team was there. It was really good. So going into Laguna here, I can't wait. I'm actually going to be going to the simulator later today to kind of prepare for it, and then head over there.
In fact, I think you're heading out of here in about 30 minutes or so. So
Exactly.
we'll try to wrap things up before you do that. Again, I know things have moved quickly since the announcement, the test, but have you felt a relationship with the team yet? How have you gelled with the team so far?
It's been incredible. I mean, as soon as I came in, they opened me with welcome arms. It's just kind of felt like family to me. Just like long lost brothers. I felt like I've known them forever, and it was like I finally get to see them again. And obviously from Shank's side, from the whole team to the engineering crew, the mechanics, just so friendly, so welcoming, and I think it's going to be a very good last 10 races for me here.
That's good. Good way to start for sure. All right, we'll go ahead and open it up for questions. Again, if you have a question, hit the virtual raised hand function. We'll begin with our friend Archie O'Reilly overseas, Dive Bomb Motorsports. Good morning, Archie.
Morning. Thanks, Dave. Hi, David. First of all, could you please just take us through kind of what the emotions have been over these last few months? Obviously, from the accident, then the release from McLaren, and then now the important part being the rebound and kind of getting this opportunity at MSR. So, just what have the emotions been over these 4 months or so?
It's definitely been a roller coaster, that's for sure. Man, it started with obviously a big high, getting the whole Aaron McLaren deal signed, and then it went to a pretty big low after everything that's happened with the injury. And I mean those few months afterwards, honestly, the stress kind of I'd say went away once the contract got terminated because there wasn't such a heavy push on making a specific timeline. But still, at the same time, I was still working on the hand, doing everything I could just in case something were to happen. And the MSR deal came around, and I gave the call to the doctors, and they said, "Yeah, we think you'll be ready." And we worked on it, and fast forward to now, and we're here. So it definitely has been an emotional roller coaster this 2024 for me, but it was a character building year, and now we're back.
And then after the outing at Milwaukee last week, how did the wrist feel? Is it still restricted at all? Do you feel there's kind of more to go, or is it feeling pretty good now?
I mean, it's feeling very good. The Milwaukee test, I wasn't really too worried going into it, just being an oval. There's not much strain on that left wrist or that left hand in general. I mean, not much movement on the steering wheel, and it's also all just left-handers. So Laguna is definitely going to be more of a question mark with the repavement as well being a lot heavier on the wheel. So we're going to see what we can do. I mean, there's a lot of things from the car side that we can do to help the steering and already have done from like a setup standpoint to make it a bit easier for that wrist to move. But overall, I think it's going to be okay. I've been on the sim almost every day doing, race simulations going 2 hours plus, similar to an IndyCar feedback on the wheel. To the point where my right hand is like, get a little bit tired. So we're doing everything we can. I think we'll be set and ready to go out there and perform.
And are you placing any expectations on yourself for these early stages, or is the most important thing just to keep the pressure off as you kind of just get back into your groove?
Yeah, I think for the time being, kind of just taking pressure off, like you said. I think, going back into it coming from an injury, I never had an injury this bad before, let alone going back into a car, so I don't really know what to expect. And talking to people around me that have dealt with those things, especially TK, I've still been working a lot with him, and he says, just take your time going into it. Things are going to be very different, and kind of just take everything slow. And we're going to see how it goes. I mean, I think the performance is going to be there, especially after how well the Milwaukee test went. But then again, you don't know. It's a road course, so we'll take our time, see how it's going to be, a little bit of a survival race, and then after that, probably start focusing on more performance.
And then finally, just a quick follow-up to that. You mentioned TK. Has McLaren done anything to kind of support you since the release? Have you still been working with, I don't know, physios that they've supplied or what have you?
Yeah, so I still was able to use their trainer, Sean Smith. He's been fantastic throughout my entire recovery, and we both know it's very hard to kind of find somebody new once you've already been with somebody that's started from the early stages. So yeah, they still let me use all that stuff. And then away from the team side, just TK himself, he's let me use his new very fancy simulator place to kind of go at it. And it's been very cool, very welcoming, which has been interesting because he streams in the background. And I swear that the last few days he's been wearing some like wig. And I was just driving, I turned around, I'm like, what is he doing? So yeah, but he's been super friendly and awesome.
Thanks, David. Great to see you back. Best of luck this weekend. Cheers, Dave.
Thank you, man.
Yeah, thank you, Archie. Yeah, it's good to have TK in your back pocket for sure, right, David?
I mean, yeah, it's incredible. That's another thing too, I'd say is 2024 season. I'm now working with both of the best Brazilians in racing. So
There you go. That's a whole chapter in the book for sure. Ben Johnson, the paddock guy. Go ahead, Ben.
Cheers, Dave. Hey, David, welcome back. This is fantastic opportunity for you with Meyer Shank Racing. What were your thoughts on the hybrid test?
overall, I thought it went very well. We didn't have any issues from the hybrid testing, and I tested with the hybrid at McLaren in the early preseason stuff, and obviously it was more in the early stages. So it's kind of a big gap for me coming back into it now, from what I was expecting before, and now it seems that they've cleared up a lot of those issues, and it seems to be very well and strong. And I think it added a lot of characteristic for an oval, especially.
Right. And in terms of like Monterey coming up, obviously it's a very tricky track, but it's a very fast track. So what do you think you can do in terms of helping the team to move forward this weekend?
I think it's going to be a win-win from both sides of the team. From my side, I'm obviously getting back into the car, going to be able to see where things are at, being out of the car for so many months. But also from the team side, I think it's another characteristic. I feel like I've seen obviously Felix's data at McLaren. I've seen it now, and we do have pretty good matching when it comes to the way we enter corners with heavy braking, focusing on exits. So I think we're going to mesh very well and work on kind of creating a very good setup together through the practice sessions leading up to the race.
Awesome. Well, best of luck this weekend and great to see you back.
Thank you.
Cheers, Dave.
Thanks, Ben. Joey Barnes, motorsport.com. Joey, go ahead.
Hey, thanks, Dave. And hello, David. Good morning. Could you just, when you go through something like what you've been through for these past several months, I guess I'm kind of curious, and I know we talked a little bit about this at the bullpen at Road America, but could you just kind of share maybe the mental strength that you've had to grow and experience from this, and how in some ways this has kind of propelled you on a different level, maybe a little bit more mature than where you were 6 months ago?
Yeah, I mean, when all of it happened, I mean, it was tough, honestly. For me mentally, it was definitely one of the toughest things I had to go through. I Man, there was some really rough days, especially after the whole termination and things going very dark for me. But I had my parents on my side. They went through a lot, obviously through their lives, and they kind of held me through it and told me that this is nothing. Opportunities will come, just get ready. And they were kind of my rock to kind of keep me going, that foundation that I needed. Um, but it's definitely changed me quite a bit. And looking back at certain moments like that, your brain tends to spiral a little bit, and you kind of start asking, what is the reasoning? Why is this happening to me? These kind of things. And I feel like for myself, I kind of believe in the fact that everything happens for a reason. I think the reason for that was to kind of become that driver that I can be with the potential that I needed. And I needed something like that to obviously get me there, to try very hard, and to just be better than I was before. So it was very tough few months for me, but I think it was all needed. And now we can look forward and becoming, obviously, I think, a better driver than I would have been.
Yeah, I mean, was there, you talk about them kind of being your rock in that situation. Was there either something that they did specifically, or was there just something that you recognized that you needed to find within yourself to hit that reset button for this next phase of your career?
I mean, it was a bit of both. I coming through it. Your brain, as soon as you kind of have so much kind of pressure and things going down, it kind of just, your brain tends to say, this is over, it's done. It just thinks of the worst thing. It just immediately goes to plan Z. And my parents were there. I mean, they went through a lot of hardship coming here from Lithuania, coming to America, no money, not speaking a lick of English. I mean, they went through a lot of struggles, a lot worse than what I'm going through. So they were kind of the ones to kind of help me through it, because they understand it very well, more than anybody. And yeah, they kind of kept pushing me, kept motivating me, and we stayed with it and did IndyCar content for the month of May. Smiled, I just stayed positive, knew it was going to come, and right after a month of May, it did, and it came very fast. So, I mean, it's a big thank you to them and to all the people that were kind of around me, supporting me through it, because they were the ones telling me to keep pushing.
Very cool. And then just this last one is, because you got to play around with the hybrid test, I guess, before and after said injury. With this latest hybrid test, how much more movement are you putting on that wrist in the car with the tools in comparison to maybe what it was before the hybrid? And obviously, how does that affect things? I know you mentioned the wrist is pretty much 100%, but
Yeah, when it comes to specific little movements, especially with the hybrid additions, a lot of it is more just like a few added buttons, or you can actually use the clutch as as a regen paddle as well. So those have not really been any issues, since movement with the wrist is very good. It's more just actual bending of the wrist movement that's still a little bit stiff, but any finger movements, since there was no injuries in the fingers, those are, I mean, no problem from that side. The roll bars definitely still a little tough on the left hand, especially after so many laps. You kind of go in and need to move it. Definitely feels a little bit, but still able to do it, still there. And obviously, we fast forwarded since the Milwaukee test even more. So at this kind of stage of the injury, I'd say every week it just jumps more and more by like quite a bit. So we're nearing kind of that 80% mark, I think.
very cool. Well, welcome back. Best of luck this weekend. And yeah, thanks, man.
Thank you.
Thanks, Joey. Alejandro Berzosa, go ahead. Pit Lane Motor, go ahead.
Thanks, Dave. Good morning to all of you. In my case, it's good afternoon. But first of all, David, congratulations for this big opportunity for you. You've mentioned before that this period for you is very tough mentally. At some point, do you consider the fact that maybe 2024 is a losing season for you?
I mean, I wouldn't say a losing season. I mean, it's we've definitely recovered and bounced back now with Meyer Shank Racing. I mean, the whole opportunity, I think it's fantastic for me, and it's kind of a better situation in some ways. For me, I think it was very, very good the way things turned out, and now we're on the up. I think of course, the beginning of the season started off rough, but I'm very excited with this end of the season. I think if anything, 2024 is going to be, I'd say, one of the most adventurous, coming from, all the way down here. And now it's going to be skyrocketed into the sky. It's going to be the biggest year for me.
You've mentioned that is very it has been a very tough period for you, but during this period it has been the Indy 500, which is, I think, for the drivers, the most exciting race of the year. Just how tough is for you the fact that you have lost this race, and you have watched this race on television or outside of a racing car?
Yeah, it was. I mean, yeah, that definitely was very tough. I mean, it is obviously one of the biggest races, but to me personally, it was very equal to missing any of the other races. I mean, to me, every race is special, and obviously just want to be back in the car, and obviously seeing it go around is tough. I mean, month of May was a little bit different since obviously I was fully out of the car then, so there wasn't any sort of obligation of me getting back in the car, so it felt a little bit different in that perspective. But I was able to get a different view on the 500, being a fan again after many years. So in some ways, it was actually a cool experience, and to see how fast we actually go. It's a lot faster on the outside than the inside.
And with McLaren, how is your relationship with McLaren after all what happened in the past, in this past month?
Well, the relationship's still very strong. I mean, we from both sides, I think we both wanted obviously to be in the car. It was just unfortunate the way things turned out. And at the end of the day, business is business, and they had obligations to hit. And obviously with the injury, I couldn't do it. So I mean, from a relationship standpoint, everybody on the team, I still have very good relationships from the media side, mechanics, engineers to Gavin and TK and everybody on board. It's been very good. So on that side, the relationship is still strong, and there's just no like holding on of emotions there.
And that's from my side. You've mentioned before that arriving with Meyer Shank, all the race, the test that you have in Milwaukee. You've mentioned that being in that team is like a family. It's like a family for you. You have built a great relationship with him. Just how important has it been for you in terms of motivation, that great relationship you have built with him?
It's I mean, it's very good. I mean, he shows that he trusts me. He knows that I can do what I can in the car. And from my side, it just feels very good that everybody on the team trusts me in that car and knows that I can perform well in it. And it's the perfect environment for the way things are right now, and for the future. I think it'll help me reach my better potential of what I can be. And the way things formed out, I mean, I'm still 22, I'm still young, and I still have a lot to learn. And being in this environment is giving me that opportunity.
Thank you very much, David. Good luck for this weekend, and good luck for the rest of the season.
Thank you.
Thanks, Alejandro. Steve Wittich, stand by. We'll go to Fernando A. Alonso, then Steve, over to you. Fernando, go ahead.
Hi, David. Nice to see you again. I remember that you told me that you have this process of doing first your recovery, and then do a little test to in a car to see how are your reaction doing. Do you have any test before going to the hybrid test last week?
No, Milwaukee was my first test of kind of what you were saying, that test of reaction, seeing how everything's are going to be. Milwaukee was that test. Before that, it was all just stuff on the simulator with Honda.
And one thing that I try to understand, that something you said before, that when you test the hybrid system with McLaren was like early days. But there's a lot of talks about the teams that have many times to test this hybrid component, and now you can compare a little the process that teams like McLaren have, and now the process that teams like Meyer Shank have. You can explain a little about what difference do you see, if there's something that the teams that haven't doing that much tests can be calm about it?
Yeah, I mean, of course, there's definitely some inconsistency there when it comes to some teams having a lot of testing and others not. But when we tested with McLaren early on with the hybrid system, it was very much beta testing. A lot of it was brand new, and they didn't really have set rules on what they wanted to do, how much regen, when to deploy, how do we do it. So it was more of going out and figuring out what they needed from Honda and Chevy to help figure out to make the hybrid to where it is today. When testing at Milwaukee, I mean, yes, Meyer Shank didn't get any testing, but everybody from Honda works together, everybody from Chevy works together, all the data is shared on the new hybrid system. So going into it, I think from a driver standpoint, the drivers that didn't get a test are going to be a little bit at a disadvantage, but a lot of that information was there. I mean, before I got into the car, I could almost see everything that's been tested, what's gonna happen, and it's a lot more set in stone now on the rules of because they finally figured out their way around the system. Back when I was testing with McLaren, it was more, we didn't really know what was going on.
And finally, for now, this new family that you said, um, how do you integrate really fast to with them? Like I know Felix is a easygoing guy, and you are also a very easygoing guy. But how do you connect with all of them? Because the culture is completely different when you came from this team, and also you have this relationship with the Andretti family, and it's kind of things about big teams, but you are in a small family.
It's no, I mean, it's been amazing right off the bat. I mean, things have gone very smoothly. And I mean, it's just already been smiles and making jokes right away. It's been amazing. And Felix was actually the first driver to come up to me when I first joined the IndyCar series to introduce me to the paddock, to introduce me to the series. He is literally the nicest guy on the field. From and having him as a teammate as well. I mean, he's also very talented and he's had an incredible season. So it's just, I think it's a very good spot for me right now. And I'm just so excited to get into it. And yeah, I mean, it's just going to be very good.
And finally, you are no longer Little Dave. Now, what is your nickname?
I don't know. We're going to have to work on that. We'll have to see. Maybe these next few races, we could come up with the new nickname. It's something we'll end up forming.
Thank you. Thank you, Dave.
It's going to happen organically, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Little Dave happened organically, said it in an interview at Texas, and there you go.
We'll see. Time for one, maybe two more. Steve Wittich, go ahead.
Hey, David. Glad to see you back. It'll be good to see you in a car again. I know I saw you spending quite a bit of time around the HMD Indy Next guys. They opened a new shop. That's 10 cars. How nice was it to sort of have that distraction while you were going through this period?
Yeah, it was very nice. It was very cool to see obviously everything, all the success that's happening over there at HMD. It was, yeah, like you said, it was a really good distraction for me. I was able to go there, hang around with some good people, and able to kind of just forget about everything that's going on for a little bit. And it's obviously it's a beautiful facility. So I've also been in there. I've been using the gym and everything. So it's been very nice to see everything and just to get to talk with the drivers, the team over there. I mean, a lot of people are still there from when I was there. So it's a lot of good relationships.
Good. And you said, yeah, right now your wrist or injury is about 80% healed. Will it get back to 100%? And how long do they think that'll take?
Yeah, it'll definitely get back to 100%. I think it's like anything in life, though. You can quickly get back to that 80, 90% range. And then that last little bit you have to slowly pick at. So that's going to take a lot longer. But we were not really too worried about that. We were more worried on getting it to that 80% because that's more than enough to be able to be back in IndyCar and also perform. The last 20%, it'll come within time, but it's not going to really be much of a big effect or a change. So we'll have to see, play it by ear, how it's going to go. But I'm just happy with the progress it's already made.
All right. Thanks, Dave.
Thank you.
Thanks, Steve. Time literally for one follow-up. Archie, go ahead.
Thanks, Dave. Hi again, David. I just wondered how the opportunity came about at Meyer Shank. Was it a case of you reaching out to them once the news kind of emerged about Tom, or did they reach out to you first?
Well, they reached out to me because I saw the news about Tom, but I wasn't really too sure on what the kind of the deal was with it. I thought maybe something, maybe an injury or something of some sort happened. So I mean, I didn't reach out from my side because I didn't really know. So MSR reached out to me, and obviously things really played out well. And I think from when we initially started talks to when it was pen on paper, I think it was probably a total of like 7 to 10 days, somewhere around that realm. It happened very fast.
All right. Thanks again, David. Cheers, Dave.
Thank you.
Thanks, Archie. You never know what doors life opens up for or with, right? So here you go.
I know, exactly. One door definitely closed and another one opens.
Another one opens for sure. Hey, thanks for doing this. We'll get you out of here so you can hit the sim and safe travels, okay?
Yes, thank you very much. See you at Laguna.
Yep, we'll see you in a couple of days. A reminder, the video from this news conference along with transcripts will be available on the IndyCar content site and the Firestone Grand Prix of Monterey, Sunday, 6 p.m. Eastern. You can see it live on USA Network and Peacock. Thanks, everyone. Have a great rest of your week.